application of analytics and data science for e-commerce. Well, the data management strategy. When it comes to data, it's best to act strategic and proactive instead of ad hoc and reactive. Data management includes all the processes for proactively collecting, organizing, protecting, storing, and sharing data. If your company understands the importance of data for decision making, then the chances are high that already some tools and processes are in place for managing your data. Well, let's look at some of the best practices in this session. Well, we're joined by Ravi Vijayaraghavan, the Chief Data Analytics Officer at Flipkart. Well, Ravi is a leader with a proven record of building world-class analytics and data science organizations and has built and managed data science and analytics teams in the large Fortune 500 companies and Silicon Valley startups. Thank you so much, Ravi, for joining us today. And ladies and gentlemen, with this, I present Ravi on your stage and screen. If you may have any questions directed towards Ravi, please put it in the Q&A tab in his 15 minutes of ongoing discussion. Ravi, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Can you see and hear me?
Yes, Ravi, we can. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I wanted to share my screen just to make sure I'm able to do that. Yeah. Okay, so I do that.
I'll stick around till the screen share happens then, Ravi, just to ensure.
Yeah. So I think sharing, you should be seeing my presentation, yeah?
Yes, we are. Perfect. Thank you.
Cool. So I'll probably go through this fairly quickly. I think what I wanted to do in this session was just give you a view on what analytics, data science, all of these look like in Flipkart, and how do we use them, how do we leverage them, and maybe that'll give you some idea of what we do here and how we sort of manage our business with the data. And maybe go quickly through one case study, very small one, and then happy to answer any questions if you have any time left. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So first thing, right? It's very important to understand where analytics and data science become a challenge, right? They usually become a challenge at scale. It's very easy to do things at small scales, but to scale them up becomes a much more challenging problem statement. And just to give you the scale of our business, we have around 300 million plus registered users, which is pretty much a significant chunk, maybe 25-30% of India's population. We get around, I think it says 1 billion, but I think it's more like 1.5 billion visits a month, and we have 80 to 100 million products. And this is the scale at which we have to operate. So anything we do, thing we do has to be at this scale. And so the first part of the presentation is a little bit understanding on how to manage scale itself, right? So the first thing here is, what do we use our organization for? Our organization is called Analytics and Decision Sciences, and the purpose of that is to make decisions much more thoughtful and data-driven and scalable as well. Right. So the first thing is, how do you make decisions at Flipkart through data and technology? I would look at it as three components, right? The first one is what I call measurement science, and measurement science is basically about building statistical and ML models to understand the drivers of all our strategic objectives and the metrics related to those strategic objectives. For example, if a strategic objective is top-notch customer experience, then maybe NPS is a L0 metric for this. And then what drives NPS, building models so that you can actually break that down to each one of its levers and drive each organization which manages different levers to the right objective, so that it all adds up in driving the right NPS and hence the right customer experience in the organization. Same thing for retention, customer growth, delivery, whatever it is, right? So the first piece of what we do is the measurement science, building structured models around understanding what our strategic objectives are, what their metrics are, and what drives these metrics at a very granular level. So that each individual in the company, each leader in the company is able to drive something that actually adds up to the whole that we want to accomplish. Yeah. The second piece is driving both strategic operation and operational decisions using data. It could be, and these again could be things like how do you build the right speed profile or delivery speed profile for our consumers, or asking the same question strategically, right? What is our personalization strategy? What's our delivery strategy? What is our customer care strategy, so on and so forth, right? And the last piece is data assisted machine decisions, which is the classic machine learning AI regime, right? Which is how do you identify what selection to acquire at scale? How do you personalize the assortment that different consumers see? How do you detect fraud if it is happening in your platform? Things of that nature. Yeah, so this is broadly what we do at Flipkart in this domain. And obviously, to make this feasible, the most important thing is a very robust, scalable data platform. And so that we do have a data platform and a ML platform. So the data platform is what the Flipkart data platform is what collects and sort of organizes data. And then the ML platform is how we deploy models that are built on this data into real-time systems, right? So obviously we collect all kinds of data. This are just some examples. It could be click data, browse data, or a transaction data, customer care, returns data, shipping, all kinds of things, and applications of these to drive decision making, include things like selection, customer experience, personalization, fraud, product decisions, what products to build, what products to carry, things of that nature, and tracking real-time metrics like sales tracking, demand tracking, traffic, so on and so forth. Yeah, and understanding our consumers as well. And so this is, see, one of the things, right? If you are truly a data company and truly an internet company which wants to use data at scale, then one thing you should become very comfortable with is experimentation. Experimentation should be a very core part of your culture. We do around 50 plus launches of various features in our platform. Each launch goes through an A/B experiment, and we also run long-term experiments, right? To understand actual impact on the platform as a whole, and all of these are monitored through real-time dashboards and real-time analytics, so on and so forth. Yeah, and broadly, right? If you look at how data translates into decisions and machine intelligence, these are some of the areas where which we build these assets, right? It could be for identifying product insights, how are different products being sold in our platform, what are consumer preferences, what are trending, what is not trending, things of that nature, understanding demand at a SKU level, understanding product life cycles, particularly things like fashion life cycles are very important to understand, understanding product quality, making sure that the products in the platform that are in the Flipkart platform are of a high quality, understanding, creating buying intelligence for our sellers to make sure our sellers understand what inventory to hold and so on and so forth, and understanding from ratings and reviews what consumers think about various products, right? Similarly, user insights is another area. Here it's could be things like understanding, making the flow of user experience as they go through our platform, try to buy through our platform as smooth as possible, understanding each consumer's brand affinity, value affinity, so on and so forth, understanding traffic, demand forecasting, also engineering bandwidth, what basically based on how many people are going to hit the platform, we have to make sure that we are sizing our engineering systems the right way, so on and so forth, understanding value for our consumers, what do our consumers attribute value to, understanding product assortment, supply chain, sellers, and most importantly, trust and safety. Both sellers and buyers come to our platform with a certain expectation of sort of the platform itself, and we want to make sure that we are able to detect any fraudulent behavior either by seller or buyer very early and are able to correct for it. Yeah. So these are some of the areas we work on, if you look at what we try to do, what are areas, sort of what are the key areas for e-commerce that demand a lot of our time, my organization's time, where analytics and decision sciences organization builds the most of its time. It's these areas, right? And this essentially represents what e-commerce is, right? At the end of the day, what do you want from e-commerce? You want selection, assortment, a wide variety of things to choose from. You want a good user experience so that as you buy, you're able to do it fairly smoothly and it's easy to buy from the platform. You want to make sure it's a good price that is value for money, and the post-order service in case you happen to need any post-order service. And these are the areas where the team works on, and the several sub areas within this where we sort of build a lot of frameworks, models, analysis, so on and so forth. Yeah. So I'm just going to go through a very quickly a simple example of a use case, just to understand, just to give you a view of the kind of work we do. First thing, let's look at a problem statement. The problem statement is very straightforward. Consumers are buying from our platform, and as they buy from our platform, as many of you, I'm sure, are users of e-commerce, one thing you look for is good reviews about a product, right? And every product has, some of the popular products have thousands and thousands of reviews, but the question is, what reviews should be presented up front? And how do you algorithmically determine what are good reviews? When I say good reviews, it does not mean reviews that praise the product or say it's a great product or something. Good reviews, when I say good reviews, what I mean by them is reviews that give the most information so that you can make a very informed decision about a product. So it's reviews that are not monosyllable, the reviews that are not just saying it's good or bad or whatever, reviews that give you enough information of the product, right? So the old algorithm earlier, we used to do it just through proportion of upvotes, right? How many people give a thumbs up to a certain review, so on and so forth. We quickly realized that's not a good way to look at it. And if you look at it, upvotes are not a good proxy. People give an upvote for multiple different things. They may give an upvote because they liked the product, not because the review is good, right? They may give a downvote because they hated the product, not because the review is bad, and so on and so forth, right? For example, here are two reviews. One is a 5, one is a 2, one is a very good review, one is a bad review, but the bad rating and a good rating, sorry, not review. But it doesn't help a lot because these sort of reviews don't help you make decision. One says it's a good product, another says it's a waste of money, but they don't help you because the quality of the review itself is not very good, and that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to figure out among the 1,000 reviews, which are the reviews which give you the most information, the best information of the product, and pop it up, right? So what is a good review, right? Review should be something that measure a good quality review is something that is helpful for a user to make a decision, right? To whether to buy a product or not. So it has to be relevant, right? Does it talk about the various product features, so on and so forth, right? If there are exclusive features, is it talking about them? Does it compare other similar products, so on? The review should be detailed, depth should be high, right? It should review pros and cons. It should mention people's experience with the product. And finally, there are other factors. Ratings and reviews should be sort of, they should agree with each other. For example, you can't give a rating of 1 and talk great things about the product or vice versa. That means there's some sort of gap in sort of what the consumer user wants to communicate, right? It should sort of, if you're talking about pros or cons, it should have details as to why something is they are saying something. The more the consumer understands the why, the better they are at making decisions. Yeah. And so I won't go into this. This is the architecture of what we built. But I'll quickly go through the key concepts. Right. First thing is looking at, see, every product has a catalog that you see when you click on that product on your e-commerce site, and that contains the attributes of the product itself, right? See, what we are trying to do is at scale, we are trying to score all the reviews given in a product and identify the 2 or 3 that will be most helpful for consumer to buy, right? So the first thing is understanding what makes a good review. You have to understand what are the key useful attributes of the product that you need to have information about if you want to make a decision to buy. For example, and this is extracted from the catalog. For example, for a mobile phone, for example, you may want to know what the price is, comments about the price, comments about the camera, maybe comments about warranty, comments about display, battery, maybe signal strength, things like that, right? That's what you would want. Now, the point is that the catalog attributes, so that is extracted from the catalog, but then you want to, people use slang, people use synonyms, so on and so forth. So we have a algorithm that converts, that takes each of the catalog attributes and extends it to various synonyms. For example, a picture could be an image or a pic or a photograph or a photo or what have you, right? Or a network could be connectivity, signal, 3G, Airtel, 4G, whatever it is, right? Then we extract out sort of these phrases, which are word adjective associated with these attributes. And these are, for example, the music player is bad, or the product looks nice, or battery backup is low, or what have you, right? Then you build these clusters of phrases, picture quality, blur image, photo, optical image, fast delivery, good service, so on and so forth. And then based on how often these clusters occur in the entire corpus of all the reviews, you give it weights, means things which are more important would likely occur more. And based on that, some clusters are given greater weights than other clusters. And then what you do is you look at the overall sort of, based on all of these, you look at, start scoring each one of the reviews based on how many of these clusters or how many of these topics it is able to address. And so with that, you can sort of through an algorithmically calculate the quality of a review. And obviously, you have a few other features. For example, if you are talking about the same feature, same attribute again and again, then there is a decay function so that you make sure that you are able to surface up queries or surface up reviews that have a variety of attributes they talk about. They talk about pros and cons and so on and so forth, right? Based on this, we built this algorithm, launched it, and what you see is, this is for a grinder, I guess, a mixer grinder, and you see that the reviews that show up through this algorithm have a good amount of information, and we are able to identify reviews that are valuable in providing the user good information to make decisions. And because of this, you see both people engaging more with the platform and also buying more with the platform because they are able to make decisions better. That's pretty much what I wanted to cover. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have, I don't know how to stop sharing.
Yeah, you can just click on that stop sharing, which comes on the top. Ravi, if you can.
Where do I do that?
In
Oh, okay, stop share. Okay, got it. Yeah, hopefully, yeah. So that was what I wanted to cover. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
for that.
Ravi. Firstly, a very great, informative session this was, and this is what we really hope that once the speakers coming, it's truly filled with so much information because of your experience. So thank you so much, Ravi, for such a valuable session today. Thank you.
Thank you very much.